Sam Bewley sitting there second wheel. The rest of the team of Movistar all surrounding Alejandro Valverde. He's the rider on the white Canyon bike you can see there. And then all of Bahrain sitting in front of Enrico Gasparotto today to try and bring him this race victory. The other rider they may well be riding for is Johnny Aguirre, who was 7th in the Amstel Gold. So they have a couple of options that they could play when they get to the race finish. There's Yuki Arashiro, and just behind him is Tsagabu Grumet. There's Arashiro there, just rolling along. This Bahrain kit, very easy to pick out in the peloton, the red and blue with the gold helmets. But Johnny Aguirre could well be the option that they go for today. Another possible option for them. Movistar and Orica Scott sharing the pacemaking on the front of this race. As we go then back to the leaders. And this is Olivier Pardini there in the neon colours. This is one of the Varane Classic riders. Just rolling through. The tempo right now relatively quick in this leading group. And our rider from WE Varane Classic, they're in a luminous yellow. The winner of Ronde van Midden, also winner of Circuit of the Ardennes International, and so far this season has been riding Tour of Oman and Étoile de Bessèges, was 13th in Le Samin. And there's the gap, 4 minutes and 18 seconds between the two groups right now. Well, thank you to all of you who've joined me for today's racing. And Kiko, good to hear from you, and Mara Lebone as well. Thank you very much for your messages on Twitter. Ant Macrosson is where you can join me on Twitter throughout today's coverage of the Fleche Wallonne. 88 kilometres of racing to go. Just to give you an idea of where we are heading right now, we'll be heading down now towards the first of the major climbs. That comes up with 73 kilometres to go. Côte d'Amay. And that is the first climb, 1.4 kilometres, 6.7%. And these 6 riders working well. Fabien Dubé over there on the right-hand side. Riding for the Wanty Group. They've got a good team here. They always try and perform well in these races. They're very important for them and for their sponsors. Fabien Dubé, only 23 years of age. He's finished last year 15th in the Tour de Limousin, one of the domestic young riders who is in this squad. Started his season at the Tour of Oman as well, and now out in the Breakaway doing his job for the rest of the team. And Wanty Group today, just thinking about their possible options that they might have. They certainly have got some possibilities here. Their sprinter is Dion Smith, but it's not going to be a sprint today. So normally we'd be talking about Dion Smith as their possible option at the end of today's race. But they've got to think about other possibilities. Radio Tour's telling us the gap's dropped down to 4 minutes. Taking a look here from the helicopter shot, you can start to understand the formations of the different squads. Movistar there at the front. Over on the right-hand side in the red and black are the BMC Racing team. We're missing Philippe Gilbert today. We wish him all the very best. Tearing his kidney after that crash in Amstel Gold and still managed to win it. Very, very impressive by Philippe Gilbert at the weekend. But back up towards the front. The Direct Energy team's a team in that kind of black and luminous yellow kit on the right-hand side. And Romain Guillemot is the rider who is representing them well today in the breakaway for Direct Energy. 26 years of age, second in the under-23 Paris Tour. He's also finished 8th in the Paris-Roubaix as a junior rider. Dan Pearson, the climber from the Aqua Blue Sport team, this new Irish squad who started this season, and now they're going to have an even bigger season because they're going to ride the Vuelta a España. Dan Pearson looking good in here. He's the sort of rider who can ride strongly in this sort of breakaway with lots of climbs that they need to go over. He is the climber in that squad. He's ridden well in races like the Abu Dhabi Tour. There he is there on the left-hand side in the dark blue with the gold on the kit. His first ever Fleche Wallonne. In fact, 4 riders in this breakaway group. It is their first ever Fleche Wallonne. So a little bit of history for them being made. And I'm sure they will certainly remember the atmosphere that you have here on the climb. Enrico Gasparotto at the back of the group. He's obviously gone back to the team car for something. There is Gasparotto, just rolling along at this moment. He's been a pro for a long time, Gasparotto, 35 years of age, turned professional with the Liquid Gas team back in 2005. Rode for them for 3 years, then moved to Barlow World, then to Lampre, and then rode for Astana between 2010 and 2014. A brief stint with the Wanty group before moving with Vincenzo Nibali to this Bahrain Merida team, the newly formed squad. Twice the winner of the Amstel Gold is Enrico Gasparotto. He was the previous champion of Italy, but it was way back in 2005. And he's been third in Liège-Bastogne-Liège as well, which is coming up at the weekend on Sunday. Another big week. The Ardennes week is midway points now with Fleche Wallonne here. It's interesting hearing some of the riders earlier on today trying to choose what kit to wear. In particular the women's race, they were trying to work out how cold it actually was, whether to wear a gilet or wear a full-length jacket like we see the Cofidis rider wearing. I know they're going to get warm, but they also don't want to get cold in the first few kilometres, particularly where the wind is so biting, which it certainly is. Everyone who's coming in here in the commentary box, everyone's going, oh, it's freezing outside today. Problems for Adam Blythe. So not only is he not enjoying being at the back of the group, he's now having to have a bike change, so one of his bikes goes into the car. Nicky Sorensen gives him a push, gets him back underway in the race. So it's not his terrain, and he's had a puncture, so he's not going to be very impressed with what's going on as far as that is concerned. Casting our eye then through the peloton. Dan Martin just going out of view. There's Bob Jungels, the Luxembourg champion, there in the red, white and blue, just spinning through the picture. Not far behind him is Serge Pauwels. Dan Martin just moving up. Trek Segafredo. He's coming alongside Michael Gogol, the rider from Austria. And the favourites will start to come to the front now because they know that we are not too far from this first climb. Great racing conditions though, lovely and sunny. The previous weather reports were that it might be that we've got rain today, but it looks like we're going to get away with it and we're going to have a very, very nice day indeed. Well, magnificent shots here of the peloton winding its way around these lovely roads. Many people out here enjoying the terrain yesterday and then coming here to watch the race. We're riding along quite nicely here. We're slightly ahead of the We're slightly ahead of the schedule of around about 38 kilometers an hour. But things will certainly start to accelerate in towards the finish. What a shot from the camera. You just have to remember there's a cameraman hanging off the side of the motorbike here, giving you these shots. Very impressive indeed. Thank you for all your messages. STRB UK, thank you very much for your message. I'm glad you're watching the racing and enjoying it today. Near the front then, Sam Bewley of the Orica Scott team. He's the rider sitting second wheel at the moment. 29 years of age. Stage winner in the New Zealand Cycle Classic. Has been 4th on a stage of the Herald Sun Tour. 13th on a stage of the Vuelta a España. Has had a long season so far. Already raced nearly 4,000 kilometres in those legs. Started at the New Zealand Road Race Championships way back on the 8th of January. Rode the Herald Sun Tour. Also rode races like Kerner Brussels Kerner, Strada Bianca, Catalunya. Was 5th in the team time trial with Orica Scott in Banyoles on the second day of Catalunya. Sam Bewley is the rider who sits there and puts in huge amounts of power to maintain gaps for his team or to bring riders back into the fold if they indeed require that he has to close a gap. So he's a perfect rider to be able to just do that. "75 kilometres to go, and we are heading now towards this first climb, which is about a kilometre away now. We're just about to turn onto it, the Côte d'Amay. 1.4 kilometres, 6.7%, then just straight along. About 5 kilometres later, we hit the Côte de Villers de la Boule. So there really is not much respite from the climbs from here on in. This is where this race will be decided now. The peloton have let the front group go. They've held it around about 3:30, and now, having let it go out to 5:45 at one point, they will now start to reel this breakaway in slowly but surely and bring the race back together. Now, tactically, as far as some of the teams are concerned, how do you beat Alejandro Valverde? Well, I think Team Sky have very good options today with Kwiatkowski and Sergio Hanau. Also Sebastian Hanau is in the team, as well as Johnny Moscon and Diego Rosa. So they've got some options to play as we hit the Côte d'Armée for the first time. In fact, the only time, rather than saying the first time. We're on this Côte d'Armée now. Sky could certainly send Sergio Henao on the attack, a little bit like Boels Dolmans have just done with Anna van der Breggen, and then let Kwiatkowski counter to try and outwit Alejandro Valverde before the end of today's race. So there's various options for that Team Sky team to try and win the race. Cannondale team we haven't mentioned yet. Niels Pollitt just trying to hold on this sharp rise. Rigoberto Urán leads the Cannondale Drapac team, but they've got Brennan Canty and Tom Scully. Tom Jelter-Slagter is also in the peloton today, although we've not really seen Tom Jelter-Slagter in the sort of form that we saw him a couple of years ago. Dan Pearson of Aqua Blue Sport in here, only 23 years of age. Rode for Team Wiggins before he moved to Aqua Blue Sport. Was 11th in the Abu Dhabi Tour, and that was last season. So far this year has had a ride in the Tour of Oman, Tour of Dubai, and he finished 15th in the Tour of Oman. So he's a good stage race rider as a 23-year-old, and he's the rider there in the blue with the gold colours around the kit. So in between the climbs, the riders seem to be putting in a very good tempo indeed. Look at Dan Pearson there on the right-hand side. He doesn't give you much shelter at all, does he, if he's on the front? Up near the front for Lotto Soudal is Tosh van der Sande, but Sam Bewley is now the rider setting the tempo. If you'd like to send me any tweets, please do. Ant McCrossan is where you can tweet me today, and thank you for all your messages. Another thing, thank you very much for your messages. Brian Nealon, what's the chances for Nathan Haas today? Interesting, he rode so well, didn't he, at Amstel Gold, 4th overall. Really was exhausted by the end of the race, but it was a very good performance by Nathan Haas in the Amstel Gold. Does he win today? I can't see him winning Fleche Wallonne, but you never know with a late attack. Maybe trying to get an advantage on Alejandro Valverde, then it's a possibility. It's not that it's beyond the realms of possibility. I'd just be amazed if he could beat Valverde at the top of this climb. It's so tough, so steep. 67 kilometres now remain. And we're on to this climb of the Côte de Villers-le-Bouet, 1.2 kilometres, 7.5% is its average gradient. Dan Pearson setting the tempo on the front. He's probably the best climber in this group. He likes these hilly days. He doesn't get bothered by them at all. Every time we get to a hill, Niels Pollitt sits on the back and tries to concentrate on just churning the gear around and staying with the group so he can add his little bit of firepower when we get onto the flat. A reminder then, this is the breakaway group, 6 riders: Fabien Dubé, Johan Bago, Niels Pollitt, Roman Guillemot, Dan Pearson and Olivier Pardini. In the cars, I don't know who is pulling over. Looks like a back wheel problem, and it's Wilco Kelderman who's changing gears and changing wheels. And we'll get back and underway. Wilco Kelderman. Oh, a rider's crashed here. And his bike, as you can see, is over the side of the crash barrier. This is a bad crash. And this is Martin Velits. Just having a look to see what happened here. Because this is... Whoa, I can't even see what happened there. Bad crash from Martin Velits. Well, he's sitting up, thankfully. Oh, it's... I'm just looking to see who it is. It's, in fact, Michael Volgren from Astana. I think he's so badly shaken because I don't know what he hit. Thankfully, he's okay, because that was a very, very bad crash. I don't even know what he hit. In fact, it looks like he hit the drain cover of the side of the road and just the bike just went. And they were going at a tremendous speed. You can see the bike ending up going right down in the ditch. Very badly shaken. Thankfully, Michael Volgren is okay. He's moving. Maybe just went down the ditch at the side of the road. You can see there that the road kind of just falls away a little bit. Thankfully he's okay, because that was one of those crashes where you're going very, very fast and just lose it like that. The bike didn't look like it was anything to do with bike failure or anything, because the bike is fully in one piece as it goes over that crash barrier. So it's nothing like we saw Nicky Terpstra a couple of weeks ago. So literally it looks like he just either hit a little pothole or a ditch and the bike just fell away from him. But Michael Volgren is okay now for the Astana Pro team, thankfully, as we're on to this next climb, the Côte de Vielle-le-Bouet. Tempo being set by a number of different teams. In the blue and lime green is Movistar. There on the right hand side in the red is Trek Segafredo. They're setting a nice tempo here. Trek Segafredo with Famiu Kubepu there on the right. And the medical staff still looking after Michael Volgren. 2:44 now is the advantage, with 65.5 kilometres to go. We're not far now from the Mur de Huy for the first time. In fact, around about 7 kilometres until we hit the top of the Mur de Huy. So a lot of action can now happen. A reminder then to all of you, the leading group: Fabien Dubé, Wanty Group, Johan Bago, Cofidis, Niels Pollitt of Katusha, Roman Guillemot of the Direct Energy team, Dan Pearson of Aqua Blue Sport, and Olivia Pardini of the WB Varane Classic team. That's the team in the luminous yellow at the front of the race. Dan Pearson has just tried to have a little bit of lunch. These guys really are kicking on now. As the pace continues. Still a big peloton left. Not too far behind now, they're closing this one up pretty quickly. .136 now the advantage. Niels Pollitt he rode well on the bottom bit of the climb, but he suffered at the top. And no surprise that Fabien Dubé of the Wanty group is the rider who's at the front. The peloton here being led by Movistar Lotto Soudal. De Gent looks very, very comfortable. Also up here at the front, Roman Kreuziger. Oh, a few riders have had to stop side of the road, get themselves going in. Adam Blythe is back in the peloton. May take him a little bit of time to get back into the peloton at the top, because it's certainly not to his liking. So Movistar firmly have control of the front of this race. Valverde looks very comfortable indeed. Cannondale packing a few riders at the front too, so are Team Sky. There really is nowhere to go if you get stopped on this climb. Gasparotto, Visconti looks really comfortable for Bahrain Merida today. He's the rider in the red who's not too far from the front, a multiple national champion of Italy. So they'll go over this top and then they'll descend down and head towards the first climb of the Côte d'Aref, which comes up in around about 13k. The peloton now nearly at the top of the Mur de Huy, coming across the line for the first time. Visconti does look very, very good. A few arm warmers been taken off. And Valverde sitting in the fourth row of the riders as they race past our commentary box. Up near the front also, Theo Gegenhardt riding a good race so far. I just saw going past the commentary box there was Michael Woods of Cannondale Drapac. So still many of the riders in this peloton involved in the action. No massive gaps yet. Alex Howes just raced past me. And the gap down to 1:27 as they crest the top of the Mur de Huy and make their way out to face the Côte d'Aref, which will come up with 45 kilometres of racing to go. Thank you for all your messages, very much appreciated. Bob Armfield, thank you very much for your message. Ant McCrossan is where you can join me. And so far, the Freaks are still firmly here on the desk. It's a challenge that has been undertaken. Niels Pollitt is trying to get back now to the lead group. Over there on the right-hand side, you can see Rafał Majka, the Polish champion. Rafał Majka, King of the Mountains of the Tour de France. He's the rider in the white with the red, riding for Bora. Movistar have decided they're going to close this one down a little bit. Orica Scott with Christian Jensen is near the front. The Bahrain Merida rider tried to throw his rain cape or gilet over to his soigneur, and it nearly I thought it hit the head of Alejandro Valverde then. It was pretty close. 4 riders at the front. Dubé there on the back of the group in the blue. Johan Bago in the black and red of Cofidis. Roman Guillemols of Direct Energy and Olivia Pardini. I don't know where Dan Pearson is. We've lost him and we've lost Niels Pollitt. That's on at 1:37. Roman Guillemols, 26 years of age, going up towards the front, and Danny Moreno is now trying to get his brakes adjusted after he snapped that chain. Mechanic having to work really hard, just keeping safe. And it looks like we've got a couple of big attacks going on now, and this is Direct Energy, who are going clear, and we've got 2 riders going on the move then. This is Lilian Calmejean and Roman Sicard. Sicard, the former under-23 world champion of the road. And these 2 riders, now this is what you normally do if you are not 100% confident in going across on your own. You attack with a teammate. One teammate normally does a big amount of work, and the other one then just springboards across to the leaders. And with 1.5 minutes, this is very, very possible. Tosh van der Sande now joins up at the front of the race. And this race now starting to be stretched a little bit. 1:25 now is the advantage. So Calmejean joining up with his teammate at the front of the race, Roman Sicard, Tosh van der Sande. Tosh van der Sande likes to go on the attack in these races. There he is in the red. And it looks like Orica have also joined up. Niels Pollitt is coming back up to the wheel of Dan Pearson, who's a little bit in no man's land. And if these 2 riders can combine, then they may well get back to the front group. But Pollitt having to work extremely hard to get anywhere near the back wheel of Dan Pearson of Aqua Blue Sports. So 4 leaders, 2 chasers, and then a number of riders in the gap right now. Nathan Haas sitting right on the back of the group. That little attack has come to nothing, so everything looks like it's calmed down. And Niels Pollitt now catching Dan Pearson, who's clearly decided to wait for him to see whether the 2 of them can get themselves back to the front group yet again. Niels Pollitt much taller than Dan Pearson, who now will just slot into the wheel. Pollitt doesn't go racing past. He goes past nice and comfortably. So the next group of on the road is Mark Christian. And it looks like he's been joined up here with Chris Juul Jensen. We've just got a little bit of an advantage now. And see whether they can race across. Mark Christian, a very attacking rider. There he is on the front for the Aqua Blue Sport team. Chris Juul Jensen, not sure he's going to do a huge amount of work here. Constantly looking around to see whether the peloton are going to let them go. All the ones, 1:11, 53.5 kilometres of racing now remain. Everyone is out and about watching this race this afternoon. The Belgian fans, they'd already started when we arrived. There was loads of people here already, and we were here at I think 8:45 this morning for today's race. They greeted the women riders who were presented to the crowd on the top of the Mur de Huy, and then they've been here ever since. The party is firmly on. Nice big giant screen at the top of the climb as well for everyone to watch. Everyone's just chatting around about the race and who might win, and lots of conversation about Philippe Gilbert and his performance at the weekend in the Amstel Gold. And sorry not to see him here for Fleche, Wallonne and Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and possibly even now out of the Giro d'Italia, which is a bit of a shame because we know that Philippe Gilbert likes the Giro d'Italia. Sam Bewley still on the front. He's the man with the beard for the Orica Scott team. Orica must be confident in Albacini today. Moving up, Team Sky. There they are in the blue and black on the side of the peloton. Team Sky, Kwiatkowski, Owen Dool, Teo Gegenhardt, Mikko Goash, Sebastian Henao, Sergio Henao, Gianni Moscon and Diego Rosa. They've definitely got options today. The good option might be that they send Sergio Henao on the attack just before the base of the Mur de Huy, the final time. As we see an attack from the BMC Racing team. And then once that gets caught, if it does, then you bring Kwiatkowski into play to try and win the race ahead of Valverde. They have to take the race on. As we see Alessandro De Marchi of the BMC Racing team now going clear. So Alessandro De Marchi immediately joined by Chris Juul-Jensen. Juul-Jensen is matching all of these attacks. Carlos Alberto Betancourt, and also up there is Gregor Boll. These riders then going on the attack, trying to just break this one up a little bit. Another rider from Team Sky coming across, so De Marchi is the rider in the BMC Racing team colours. The black and red, Chris Juul-Jensen, Gregor Boll riding for the Bahrain Merida team. It looks like they believe that they can get across. Movistar with Betancourt. And another couple of riders coming across. One of them is, looks like Moscon of Team Sky. Just taking a look to see whether it is. And one rider from WB Varan Classic also in the group. .38 seconds now is the advantage. Betancourt is all over his bike, isn't he? Look at him. He just shakes his head and says, nope, there is no way I'm doing any work. Eric, thanks for your message. What's my favourite city to visit in Belgium? That's an interesting question. I like, in particular, I like to go to Bruges and I like to go to Ghent. Both really nice cities. You can just wander around. Ghent I've been to a few times because of the Ghent 6 Day and numerous other races. And it's just a nice place to just spend a little bit of time. If I had to completely pick an outsider to win today, who would it be? De Marchi's still trying to press on with this attack. If there was to be a complete outsider to win today's race, who would it be? He's not an outsider, but I'd say Rafael Majka as a possibility and Roman Bardet as another possible outsider for this style of race, because Valverde is so powerful on this sort of climb. They would be my two. Then if we went for a real outsider, someone who maybe none of us know too much about, then or someone who's maybe on the ascendancy and we think they won't win it, but there's a possibility. I think Ben Herman's of BMC could be the dark horse today. Think about the Green Mountain where he won in the Tour of Oman. He was so impressive, and he knows these roads. He knows them very well indeed. So we'll see whether he can produce the goods when we get here to the finish. Normally what you find in this race is rider with the stature of Valverde is really strong, and then some good climbers are also up there at the finish. So you've got the right likes of Rui Costa and Barguil, who were 9th and 10th last year. Sanchez, I don't think Sanchez today because of that crash he had the other day, and somehow he's managed to get himself back together and to be riding this race, which is a bit of a big surprise, I would say. Samuel Sanchez really was completely ripped up in that crash the other day. Roman Kreuziger then is making his way towards the front to team up with Chris Juul-Jensen. On the front of the group now, riding for the Sunweb team, Wilco Kelderman, just trying to stretch this race out. So it's Kelderman followed by De Marquis. Roman Kreuziger is near the front, as is Christian Jensen. And the other rider who is in this group right now, Gregor Mühlberger of the Bora Hansgrohe team. And they're only 15 seconds away now from catching this front group. There's a few little attacks starting to go here. Team Sky, Theo Gegenhardt sitting second wheel. He's a talented young rider. His girlfriend Hannah Barnes was riding the women's race earlier on today. Considering his age, he's sitting here at the front of Fleche Wallonne, looking very comfortable indeed. He rode for Axel Merckx's Axion team. Decided not to turn professional when Team Sky kept asking him, and decided to wait until he felt he was ready. That's just how mature Theo Gegenhardt is. He wasn't prepared to put his body through what it needs to go through in these big races until he felt he had the knowledge and the stature to be able to do it. And now he's probably much stronger as a World Tour pro than he would have been otherwise. So it looks like these group of riders are still just working away. They're just managing to stay ahead. Trek Segafredo with a number of riders now at the front of the race. They're the team in the red and black. They've got the oldest rider in the race, Haumar Zubaldia, who's just over 40 now. Just see the little moves going on. As Pardini just looks for the top of this climb, another 1,000 metres to go. Movistar being led by Marc Soler. Marc Soler, who comes from not far from Barcelona, and a rider who rode really well in Catalonia. Soler is the next rider, I think, who will follow Valverde. A few riders starting to go out of the back. Just starting to suffer for Aqua Blue Sport there was Connor Dunn, who there's no surprise that he's suffering on these climbs. And any moment now, this peloton is going to be all back together because our final last man standing, Livia Pardini, has gone. There's Connor Dunn at the back. He's in difficulty. Alongside him, Mikhail Goas just trying to come back to the race. For Trek Segafredo there, Fumio Kubepu doesn't look entirely comfortable, but Team Sky starting to look very good indeed now as they move up on the right hand side with all of their riders apart from Goas. Number 177 there for the Bora team is Lucas Posselberger. Just in front of the Team Sky rider there is number 147, Johan van Zyl, who rides for Team Dimension Data for Quebecer. And over on the right-hand side, Marc Soler's job has been done. He has peeled off for the Movistar team. You can see this climb working its way up. And the riders then have a fast descent downhill into Hui again. And then we climb the Mur de Huy for the second time. This is really going to add to a very, very tough finish. Over on the left-hand side for the Quick Step team, the team of Dan Martin, is Laurence de Plus. And now we get some attacks going, a couple of riders going clear. And it looks like BMC Racing Team yet again trying to try things. This is Alessandro De Marchi. Immediately onto the wheel of De Marchi comes one of the Quick Step riders. Looks like near the front, Orica Scott also represented. And De Marchi really trying to stretch this race out now. Oh, overshoots that corner almost. Looks like Brambier's up there now. Alessandro De Marchi gets into that familiar style. Now he's going to go fast downhill and see what sort of advantage he can get by the bottom. De Marchi flat out through that corner. He's such a great rider at these sort of attacks. Towards the end of a race, putting everyone under pressure. Winner of a stage of Vuelta a España. And De Marchi now has a little bit of an advantage as we go very fast downhill, down towards Huy, to set ourselves up for the Mur for the second time in this race. Catching a glimpse then of Anthony Perez there on the back on the left-hand side. Alongside him from FDJ is Arnaud Coté. Angus White, thank you very much for your kind message on Twitter. At @McCrossan is where you can join me if you would like to say hello this afternoon. The Chateau d'Ain we've just gone past. And the music outside the commentary box is now getting louder and louder as we head towards the conclusion of the 81st edition of the Fleche Wallonne. It's like things are coming back together. Brambier on the front of the peloton. De Marchi is just the lone leader. Now onto the flatter roads. And Alessandro De Marchi is looking pretty comfortable. Now into that aero tuck. Stage winner in the Dauphiné, second on a stage of the Giro d'Italia. Here he comes. He's heading along the road into the centre of Huy again, 30 years of age. Comes from Italy. Has been with BMC since 2015. Before that, when he first started as a pro, he rode for Androni Giocattoli Sidemek. And then moved to the Cannondale team before joining BMC in 2015. And now there's a number of teams who are starting to get a little bit concerned about this attack. So they have now come to the front. Team Katusha Alpecin, their squad today is Moritz Lamertink, Jenthy Biermans, Pavel Kozetkov, Václav Kuznetsov, Marco Matisse, Madsvert Schmidt, Angel Vicioso, and we've already seen Niels Pollitt. But Alessandro De Marchi now is coming along the banks of the river. Very nice little place this. Went for a run along here this morning. It's a very nice area. The only thing that spoils it's two big double chimneys at the far end, but apart from that, it's absolutely beautiful place. Alessandro De Marchi just continuing with his little effort. 15 seconds he's managed to grow his advantage to. He's just really trying to put the other teams under pressure for BMC to just relax a little bit, for Ben Hermans and Samuel Sanchez, those sort of riders. Apart from that, well, he's just taking the pressure off and hoping that other teams don't chase him right now. Lovely shot of Alessandro De Marchi on his red BMC bike. Windy along here, as you can see, those flags firmly out. Some tough old running to the Mur de Huy. Back into Huy now, and Alessandro Marchi turns left, and he's about to hit the base of the climb for the second time today. Only 30 kilometres now remain on the 81st edition of the Fleche Wallonne, and this rider is now trying to either grow his advantage or just inspire some other riders to race across to him, so that when they get to the top of the climb they can try and race away with a little bit of an advantage. Driving into the base of the climb comes Chris Jensen of Orica, alongside him Peter Vakoc. Wendy, thank you very much. You think Gertz or Dillier for BMC, Hager Edmondson for Orica, and Haas for Team Dimension Data? Scott Fitzgerald, I was resisting the frites. We're in Belgium here. We're not. We're resisting frites. Not your tweet at the moment. We're in Belgium. There is beverages flowing outside the window, and someone delivered frites to me 2 minutes into the commentary if you missed that bit earlier on. Reinhardt, you think Valverde, Kwiatkowski, Albacini, Dan Martin. Amazing. Thank you very much for your question. What was the update on the women's results? Anna van der Breggen won here on the Mur de Huy yet again with a solo victory, breaking away and winning. Her teammate Lizzie Deignan was second yet again, and behind her was Kasia Niewiadoma. That was the top three in the women's race. Anna van der Breggen looked absolutely supreme as she raced across the top. Crank Addicts, thanks for your message. How do I think Chloe Dyger-Owen would slot into the women's pro peloton in the Women's World Tour? That girl is the most talented young rider I've seen of her age. She's absolutely incredible, and I don't think she'd have a problem. In fact, I think a lot of pro teams will be looking to sign her for the firepower she's got. She's just got to make the right decision about where she is, because she's guided really well by Nicola Cranmer and the team at 2016, now 2020, I'm sure, and they are looking after her. And she's just got to make the right moves at the right time, a little bit like Corinne Rivera has done, because you think about Corinne, she's now up there at the front of these races. She didn't come here until she was ready, and now there's a lot of riders who maybe didn't think she was as good as she is. I remember watching her in the World Championships in Richmond, and she was in that breakaway and at the front of the race all day on some tough climbs. Just to update you on the rest of the women's results, behind Niewiadoma, Annemiek van Vleuten won the bunch ride to the top of the climb. Shara Gillow was 5th, Ashley Moolman 6th, Corinne Rivera, just shows you her talent, 7th. Janneke Ensing was 8th, Catherine Garfort 9th, Flavia Oliveira was in 10th place. That was the top places in the women's race. It was a great race, and judging by that, Corinne would still, I think, possibly be the leader of the Women's World Tour, judging by the way that she's riding right now. Turn our attention then to the men's race, 18.3 kilometres to go, and the race situation for those of you just tuning in for the last 20k. Bob Jungels and Alessandro De Marchi are the leaders of this race. 20 seconds now is the advantage Rob C, you're going for Michael Matthews. You don't think he looks right in that kit. The Sunweb kit's pretty cool, actually. Their bus is pretty impressive. Michael Bateman going for Kwiatkowski. Skillsy thinks Nathan Haas. I don't think you're too far wrong. Nathan's been aiming for this week since the beginning of the season. I remember talking to him really early in the season in Oman. And he was in very good spirits, and all his aim was the Ardennes week. That was all he was thinking about, even back then. So Nathan Haas, I'm sure, is a possibility for today. Orica Scott, though, are comfortable. Nathan Haas sitting on the wheels, as you can see, for Dimension Data for Quebecer. A couple of places back, we then see the Movistar team lining up. Team Sky, with look how strong Kwiatkowski is. If you look about 10 riders back, you can just pick out the rainbow bands. He's just sitting there. Looks, his morale is absolutely sky high. Kreuziger moving up for Orica Scott. And Bahrain Merida also, with all their riders there in the red with the gold helmets. Although I think that kit is one of the nicest kits now in the peloton. There's Rafael Maika moving up for Bora. Cyril Gauthier over on the left-hand side for Agidou La Mondiale. 22 seconds, 17.5 kilometres to go. Jim Walker wants Nathan Haas to win. The knowledge is you have to be able to beat Valverde on this climb. 23 seconds. Valverde's won the last 3 editions of this race. Before that was Moreno, who's one of his teammates. Alaphilippe was second last year, of course, now injured. Shame not to see him here. Dan Martin was third. 2015 was Valverde, Alaphilippe, Albacini. 2014 was Valverde, Martin, Kwiatkowski. 2013 Moreno, Sergio Henao, Betancourt. Albacini also finished second in 2012. Albacini's had 11 starts here and 7 top 10s. Valverde's had 7 top 10s out of 12 starts, but 4 of those have been the race victory. Dan Martin's had 9 starts now in the Fleche Wallonne as well. Orica Scott really are working hard today. Well, thank you very much for joining me. There's the Tim Vellens fan club. Adam wants Valverde. I think you're right, it's hard to not pick Valverde today. Henrik Lemmer, Lewis Menkes, Andy Mack, Albacini. How's Volgren Anderson? Well, he looked like he was up and okay. He's got a few injuries, but he didn't look like he was holding his collarbone or anything like that. I think he was just crashed at a very, very high speed. There's the helicopter flying overhead, bringing us these pictures. Of course, very technically difficult to film a bike race. You need the motorbikes to have links, helicopter which has links, and then there's a plane circling way overhead that carries all the program video information and then bounces it back down to the outside broadcast trucks that are here on the finish line. So you need an awful lot of infrastructure just to show this one picture here right now. The caravan has arrived at the finish, throwing out some gifts. And Orica Scott, they must be absolutely sure about Albacini winning this race today, because right now they are not riding like a team who are worried about Alejandro Valverde. 15.8 kilometres of racing to go. Over the top of the Côte d'Aref. Next climb will be the Côte de Chirav and then the Mur de Huy for the final time. And Jungels and De Marquis are now growing their advantage. 28 seconds is a good lead now with 15.5 kilometres to go. Bob Jungels on the front of this duo, a Luxembourger. He's won the Étoile de Bessèges. He's been third in Tirreno Adriatico, only 24 years of age, Bob Jungels. He was a member of the team time trial squad who won the World Championships. He's both the individual time trial champion of Luxembourg and he's the road race champion. And last year, of course, he won the youth classification in the Giro d'Italia and finished 6th overall in the Giro. He's a versatile rider. He won the best young rider in the Tirreno Adriatico that he was third in so far this season. He's ridden over 3,000 kilometres of racing. Still a young rider, 24 years of age. Back in the peloton and catching a glimpse there on the left-hand side of Maximilian Schachmann of Quick Step. Still a lot of riders here with 15k to go. It's still anyone's race. We could have an outsider win today. Beautiful shot of a Wednesday afternoon here in Belgium. The peloton just winding its way yet again around this road. The shadows lengthening, the sun on their backs. The gap's kind of stabilised now to 26 seconds. And here these riders just clicking their way through the gears, just trying to find a gear that's comfortable. This race in total, 204.5 kilometres. So 191 k's done now. And Orica maintain the pacemaking. Chris Jensen there on the front. He's going to crack at some point, but he's going to give everything he can. Behind him, Daryl Impey, then Alexander Edmondson. The entire squad are still here. Team Dimension Data 4, Quebecer, Serge Pauwels is still here. Sergio Henao, there he is in the Colombian champions colours. Further on back, Artur Vichot. It's going to take an interesting move to try and win this race. Unless they literally just race up the climb the final time. A few riders suffering here at the back. Genfi Berman's there on the left for Katusha. The legs of Marco Minard of Wanty Group just giving out. And the work being done here by Orica Scott. We've been saying that for a while now. And it looks like Bob Jungels has gone clear here on his own. He's decided to get rid of Alessandro De Marchi. So we have a lone leader. This is a big move by Bob Jungels of the Quick Step team. Kathy Mel, thank you very much for your message. Lovely to hear from you. I'm glad you're tuning in and watching. Adam, you'd like to see Canty give it a go on the Muir. I'm sure all his fans certainly would. Thinking different riders, but is this rider going to have an opportunist victory in Fleche Wallonne? Bob Jungels has gone clear. And he's now 36 seconds ahead. So he got rid of Alessandro De Marchi. And he's decided to try and go it alone. And he's going absolutely flat out through these corners. And if he can build his advantage inside the last 10k to around about 40, 50 seconds, then Bob Jungels could win the Fleche Wallonne. The peloton will ride quick, but they'll be a little bit careful through some of these corners. Bob Jungels turns left. There's the Marquis, sorry. Trying to get back on terms with Jungels. Jungels is absolutely flying along this road. Here he is, 36, 37 seconds now is the advantage. Lynn, thanks very much for your message. Thanks for tuning in. Grant would like Brendan Canty to get a top 20. Again, another Neo-Pro who's very talented indeed. As we swing around here for the final time. 36 seconds to Bob Jungels. 10 kilometres now to go in the 81st edition of the Fleche Wallonne. Jungels is looking very, very impressive here. Christopher Wilcox, Valverde or Haas. But you'd also like Darrell Impey to do something. Let's see what happens. Impey took that great stage win in Catalonia. Jungels now is getting towards the 50-second mark. He's got to go over the penultimate climb of the day, the Côte de Chirave, which is 1.3 kilometres. If he gets over the top of that with 50 seconds, there is a possibility of him winning Fleche Wallonne. He's right forward in the saddle now. Doesn't look under any pressure whatsoever. He's churning over a huge gear, and he looks like he's a rider who's right on form. Orica Scott now starting to get concerned, so they've brought Kreuziger forward and setting the tempo now on the front for this team. Darrell Impey, so Impey's not going to be the rider to go for it. It will be Albacini. Alessandro De Marchi is there. He's 25 seconds behind and 25 seconds in front of the peloton, chasing this one down. 47, 49 seconds now is the advantage, as UAE Team Emirates now have a rider near the front of the group. Matteo Bono, I think it is. Rafael Maika over on the right-hand side. A bit of road furniture. Team Lotto NL Jumbo also now starting to come forward, but we haven't really seen much of them today, which is not always a bad thing. The less you see, the more sheltered they are. They've got Robert Hessink, Enrico Battaglin, Koen Bowman, Floris de Teer, Bert-Jan Lindemann, Juan Jose Lobato, Paul Mertens and Alexei Vermeulen. Lobato could do well on the top of this climb. Onto the cobbled section at the base of the penultimate climb of the day. Bob Jungels, our lone leader on the 81st edition of Fleche Wallonne. John would like Roman Bardet to take today's victory if possible. Looking for the last Luxembourger to win this race was Kim Kirchen in 2008. He won, of course, here on the Mur de Huy, as we look here at De Marquis, who's about to be caught. Before that, the last Luxembourger, in fact, sorry, not Kim Kirchen, was a Dutchman, wasn't he? So the last Luxembourger, I don't think a Luxembourger has ever won this race, actually, looking at the previous winners. Would be a big turn up for the books if he managed to hold on and take today's race victory. In fact, he would be a first. So Jungels now still ahead. 53 seconds, and now Team Sky are getting worried. Jungels in pain as he makes his way towards the top of this penultimate climb of the day. If he gets over the top with, I think, 55 seconds or so, then there is a big possibility of Jungels taking this win, because he can descend very quickly indeed. Six and a half kilometres to go. This is our lone leader then, Bob Jungels, working that bike all the way to the top of the climb. Terry, thanks for your message. Trevor wants Jungels. Terry Could Jungels go all the way to the finish? You've noticed he's got no bead-ons on the bike. Just going to have a look. A lot of these riders haven't. It's funny though, it's surprisingly cold out here. It's freezing actually. Although the sun's been shining, the wind is really very, very cold. So as you can see, a lot of riders are now climbing without any bead-ons on the bikes. Rafał Majka, the Polish rider, king of the mountains of the Tour de France, now on the front of the race, trying to stretch this out a little bit. Followed immediately by Gianni Moscon. Behind Moscon, another couple of riders coming across. Joining them is now into the wheels is Fonseca. He rides for the Fortunato Vital Concept team. He looks good. But Bob Jungels now has crested the top. I don't think he's got enough. 35 seconds. Can he hold on? He could build his advantage back again over the crest of this, because it's then very, very fast downhill once you get off the false flat. Still with 30 seconds. Thank you for all your tweets. @Ant McCrossan is where you can tweet. Connor Rowley, Michael Matthews in the mix with Kwiatkowski and Valverde. There's a lot of young Aussies here, Wendy. You're absolutely right. Some good Aussie riders at the front of this race. Bob Jungels out the saddle. He's starting to suffer after that climb. Lovely shot of the way he's just churning the pedals over every now and then, out of the saddle, just trying to ease the pain. Now he's going to turn right. This is the fast descent. Now he can get into the aerotuck and try and build the advantage. It's super fast down here. Jungels now just trying to get on top of the biggest gear on his bike into the aerotuck to go fast downhill back to Wee. Literally just done a loop out of Wee and back into it. The chase is on. Rafał Majka in second wheel. Valverde is up there in fourth place, just behind Albacini. Behind them, Sergio Henao. Behind them looks like Tim Vellens. Then one of the Cannondale riders. Then it looks like Bahrain have got one or two riders near the front as well. Fonseca for Fortunato Vital Concept. Kwiatkowski is still there. Bob Jungels then into the super tuck. 30 seconds now is the advantage for this young Luxembourger, 24 years of age. He really has taken all the pressure off Quick Step today. Swings left and then it swings right now. A little bit tighter through there into the shadows under the trees. 28 seconds for Jungels. Not far to go now, but you can lose half a minute really quickly on the Muur de Huy. Anna van der Breggen made it to the Muur de Huy with 38 seconds and she held on to win. So Jungels needs a similar amount of time. Into this fast right-hander, back in towards the town. Now he's going to go along the river section. Little bit of a headwind. But Jungels still looks good, 26 seconds. All he'll hope is he either holds on or he gets caught and his teammate wins. This is a tremendous performance by Bob Jungels. The red car goes by. Team Sky now in control. Gianni Moscon on the front. Rafał Majka in second wheel, talking into his race radio right now. Fonseca's the rider in the white. Up there is Sergio Henao. He's perfectly placed. Albacini is there. Valverde is absolutely perfectly placed, but Valverde doesn't have the troops around about him like he's had previously. Michael Matthews moving up for Team Sunweb. Orica have got a lot of troops. The arrival of, I think, Tim Vellens here of Lotto Soudal on the left-hand side in the wheels. And Lotto have a number of riders. Movistar bringing some reinforcements back to the front to look after Alejandro Valverde. But Jungels still has 24 seconds as he makes his way along the canal, the river here. Just trying to rest to give himself a little bit left for when he hits these climbs. Moving up now comes Patrick Conrad. Looks like Sunweb are pretty confident in Michael Matthews. He's sitting in the wheels. Still so many riders in with a chance of winning this race today. Still with 24 seconds, 2.2 kilometers to go. The normal rules of a minute don't really apply in a 10k situation like this because of the final climb. The arrival of Cannondale on the left-hand side of the road. Cannondale, Drapac, Orica Scott take control. It's a small group now. It was a lot of riders before, but now we have just a very small group of maybe 30 riders going for the finish line. So Jungels still in that aero tuck. 23 seconds is now his advantage. He's still there. Just giving us as much as he possibly can. He's going to turn a fast left-hander. Now Movistar take control to bring Valverde to the front. Dan Martin is still there for the Quick-Step team. And now Jungels is out the saddle as he hits the very first slopes of the Mur de Huy. 23 seconds. This is now biting. Has he got enough time? The peloton are moving so fast into the base of this final climb of the day. The Mur de Huy. Valverde is still perfectly placed to win yet again on this climb. Jungels now is into the final 1,000 metres. What a stunning ride it's been by Bob Jungels today. Here come the rest of the riders. Kwiatkowski is there. Valverde is looking good. Jungels now just trying to concentrate, keeping the pace as high as he possibly can. The big advantage is that Dan Martin's not had to do anything. Jungels then on the front of the peloton right now. Diego Rosa bringing Michał Kwiatkowski forward. Valverde is perfectly placed. Moving up on the outside is Tim Vellens in the red. Also near the front for UAE Team Emirates is Diego Ulissi. Cannondale Drapac. Sergio Henao comes forward in the Colombian champions colours to join Michał Kwiatkowski. Valverde, everyone's playing into his hands. Bob Jungels is still there, but the peloton can see him now. Everyone is just waiting for Valverde to make his move. Team Sky have 3 riders here. Albacini is still in the mix. Movistar are bringing Valverde forward. He's about to pounce. Jungels is caught just in sight of the finishing line. Now Team Sky with Kwiatkowski and Sergio Henao. Albacini is there. Rigobert Uran is here for Cannondale Drapac. Also near the front is Jakob Fuglsang. And also coming up is Dan Martin, who looks under a little bit of pressure. Valverde doing what he did last year, which is just ride easily on the front, waiting to turn the pressure on everybody else. Valverde knows this climb better than anybody. At the front here, also from FDJ, is David Goudal, the youngest rider in the race, the winner of the Tour de l'Avenir. Arriving on the left-hand side, it looks to me like it is Romain Bardet. Romain Bardet's trying to go for this. Gaudo, what a ride by David Gaudo. Bardet is blocked in on the left-hand side, the right-hand side of the screen. Valverde is just waiting and waiting. No climber has been able to out-climb him. Kwiatkowski looking for another win. Winner Milano Sanremo, winner Strade Bianca. David Gaudu goes for FDJ. Valverde now goes with him. The youngest rider in the race, David Gaudu, 20 years of age now, is taking this race on from Valverde. The arrival on the outside of Dylan Teuns. Now Valverde goes on the attack. Here's the move. Valverde strikes for victory. Dylan Teuns is going with him. Sergio now, Dan Martin. Valverde going for the victory. Valverde looks absolutely majestic on the climb. No one has any match for him right now. Albacini is going to try and get there, but Valverde has struck the absolute killer blow. Alejandro Valverde wins the 81st Fleche Wallonne, and no one had any chance of beating him. Once David Gaudu went, second was Dan Martin, third was Dylan Teuns. Also up there was the Sunweb rider, I think might have been Michael Matthews, but what a race by Alejandro Valverde. Once he went, no one had any answer. He just literally rode away from them. Alejandro Valverde wins the Fleche Wallonne. He won this race 2006, 2014, 15, 16 and 2017. Alejandro Valverde's won Fleche Wallonne 5 times. An incredible record in this race. No one can get anywhere near him. Well, they all tried to follow him. David Gaudu, what a race by the young rider from the FDJ team. Immediately tracked by Dylan Teuns, Sergio Henao. But once Valverde went, look at that, he just rides away. Everyone waited, they played exactly into his hands. Albacini is there, but Valverde just is in a different straight. Dan Martin behind him. Martin was there. Henao and Dylan Teuns were the other riders at the front. Dan Martin second place, but the 5th win for Alejandro Valverde in the Fleche Wallonne.
Alejandro. Scott's turf.
A very content Alejandro Valverde, paying full respect to the climb of the Mur de Huy. He lets the arrow go. Alejandro Valverde wins at the top of the climb. Dan Martin up there in second place. Dylan Teuns of BMC in third, Sergio now in fourth. Albacini was in fifth. It was Warren Barguil, sorry, who was in sixth place for the Sunweb team. Kwiatkowski just couldn't respond. He was in seventh. He looked good all day. Rudy Mollard of FDJ in eighth. David Gaudu, the youngest rider in the race, in ninth. And Diego Ulissi in 10th place. Michael Woods of Cannondale Drapac in 11th. Johnny Zagiri in 12th place. There's our top positions then. Valverde from Martin, Dylan Teuns, Henao, Albacini, Barguil. Kwiatkowski, I thought, might be able to go with Valverde today, but it didn't quite happen. And then it was Mollard and Gaudu and Ulissi. Full respect to David Gaudu to finish in the top 10 in Fleche Wallonne at 20 years of age. This is the moment when Valverde went. Dylan Teuns was right on the wheel. Sergio Henao was there, but this is the moment where he just accelerates and no one has an answer. And the next time when he gets to 100 meters, suddenly he's got about 15 meters on everyone else. A fantastic victory by Alejandro Valverde. Behind him was Dan Martin, who finishes second for the second time. Martin finished third last year, second in 2014, second in 2017. And as usual, the Seals are at the top of the Muur de Huy, enjoying the sunshine and enjoying the water. And we have the presentation now of the women's race. Kasia Niewiadoma, third place for her today. Kasia Niewiadoma, third place in the women's race. She was chasing down the winner, Anna van der Breggen. Lizzie Deignan, second place for the Boels Dolmans team, onto the podium. There's Lizzie taking the second place. Lizzie looks happy. Her team in the last week have really started to produce the big results. I did say that this was going to be a big week. Here comes the winner of the women's race. Anna van der Breggen rode away from everyone. Two wins in Ardennes week for Anna van der Breggen. There's our podium in the women's race. Kasia Niewiadoma of WM3, Lizzie Deignan of Boels Dolmans, and Anna van der Breggen of Boels Dolmans. Here's our top 10 today then. Alejandro Valverde Movistar ahead of Dan Martin of the Quick Step team. Dylan Toons in third for the BMC team. Behind them, Sergio Henao, Team Sky, Albacini, Warren Barguil, Kwiatkowski, Mollard, Gudel and Ulissi. Not much separating all these riders, except the sheer power of Alejandro Valverde. Dylan Toons BMC Racing team takes third place today. Belgian rider here in the Muur de Huy. Dylan Toons, a very popular third place for him.
On va se retrouver maintenant pour la place de deuxième de la Flèche Wallonne. Voilà, et pour la deuxième place.
You can see him shivering, that's how cold it is. Here comes Dan Martin again on the podium of Fleche Wallonne. Second place for Dan Martin today.
Qui vient réaliser un nouveau podium après sa deuxième place en 2014, après sa troisième place en 2016. Il va être félicité par Robert Moreau, député provincial au sport à la province de Liège. Et il va de nouveau être félicité, mesdames et messieurs, par le public de lui. Écoutez les applaudissements du public pour ce garçon qui nous vient d'Irlande, Daniel Martin.
Daniel Martin, second again in Fleche Wallonne on the podium there.
2014 comme en 2015 et comme en 2016, dans le cœur de la Fleche Wallonne, on accueille Alejandro Valverde.
And the winner of this year's race, yet again, Alejandro Valverde. 4 wins in a row, 5 wins in total.
Monsieur Paul-Émile, député président de la province de Liège, félicité par Robert Moreau, également et par Pierre Bouts. Voilà un coureur qui est tout à sa joie, 107e succès. C'est donc dans sa carrière, 10e succès de la saison. Et tous les applaudissements du public.
What a record by Alejandro Valverde. 5¼ hours of racing today to take this victory over 204.5 kilometres.
Voilà, félicité par M. Pierre ministre des pouvoirs locaux de la ville, du logement et des infrastructures sportives de Wallonie, qui félicite ce champion d'exception. Allez, on l'applaudit encore très très fort. Alejandro Valverde.
Alejandro Valverde signifies 5 wins.
Daniel Martin, Dylan Tuns, la Belgique, l'Irlande et l'Espagne à l'honneur. Et oui, tous trois vont monter sur la plus haute marche du podium.
There's our podium then. Dylan Toons, Dan Martin, Alejandro Valverde.